So yes, so we just discussed, we completed discussing what BA is, role, and things like that. We'll talk about some important activities which are done. So it may not be in a particular order. We just, the next couple of days we'll just talk about different things that BA do, and then we will put them in a overall perspective. Okay. So the first thing that we talk about is about requirements, and you will hear this probably every day 100 times. From BA, that it's all about requirements. How do you get the requirements? Okay. So before I talk about it, just read through this graphics. Okay, from left to right. So from first, top row and then the last row.
How the customer explain
Explained
it,
it. Yes.
and how the project leader understood it,
Hmm.
and then how
Look
the
at the picture
analyst
also. Okay.
design it,
So when you read it, look at the picture. So you see
mm,
the difference. How picture is
how
getting,
the customer explained.
yeah, how
Okay,
the picture is getting,
how the how
changed.
the project leader understood it. Okay, how the analyst design it. Okay, how the programmer wrote it. Okay, how the business consultant described it. Okay, uh, how the project was documented. Okay, what operation installed. Okay, how the customer build. Okay, how the uh, s- how the uh, supported, how the what uh, what the customer really need. Oh, yeah. So it's totally when the customer need that, it's totally when the start is totally different what they
Exactly.
want.
Exactly.
So it's a lot of factor involved, and everybody they describe with a different thing.
Exactly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how
Okay.
things change, right? From,
Mm,
if you see the picture, now the picture has to be same, consistent, right?
mm,
This
mm,
this is what happens when BA is not there. Okay.
mm,
See, the
mm,
programmer's job is to code, right? They'll be busy coding.
mm, mm,
Customer has told what they want, right?
mm, mm,
But if you see, even if you see the first and last picture, okay,
mm,
that also
mm,
is different. What customer really
mm,
needed is also different
mm,
than what they explained.
mm,
Okay, so the
mm,
job of BA, okay,
mm,
in
mm,
nutshell, is to make sure
mm,
that the last picture is kept at the
mm,
first. So when you talk, when you describe, right, you talk to the customer. So this is what we want. You say,
mm,
no, 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 don't talk about what you want. You tell me
mm,
what is your problem, right? What is that you want to
mm,
achieve, right? And
mm,
while
mm,
while you talk to your customer, your intention
mm,
has to be
mm,
to get that
mm,
last picture in the first place. Okay,
mm,
if you're able to get that
mm,
thing, 50% job is done. The rest 50%
mm,
job has to be to make sure that consistent picture or consistent communication happens
mm,
across everybody, right? Whether it's a
mm,
project leader or analyst or
mm,
programmer, business
mm,
consultant, documentation,
mm,
billing, support
mm,
team,
mm,
they should
mm,
see this, okay, the consistent
mm,
picture.
mm,
Okay, so
mm,
that's the job of BA. Now, whether it's
mm,
difficult or
mm,
easy, that is it. Okay,
mm, mm, mm.
and
Uh,
see, everybody has their
so,
role to play, right? Their main role is to play. Their role is not to talk to customer, right? They
mm,
want they
mm,
so when, as a BA, you talk to everybody and make sure that they
mm,
understand what they need to do before they start
mm,
working.
mm. Sarah,
Yeah,
sorry to
yeah,
stop you. You start recording today?
yes, yes, yes.
So maybe
So let me
we did.
confirm it.
Okay, thank
uh,
you. Okay,
yes, we already 5 minutes 52 seconds, so it's getting recorded. Yeah.
okay, okay, thank
Okay, so what is requirement?
you. Okay,
uh,
so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Mhm. So basically the first step, and the first step what he want, and then actually what he described and what he want was totally different,
Totally
right?
different. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. And this happens, okay, because uh,
Mhm.
see,
Mhm.
as a they may not be, they know their problem, but they don't know the
Mhm.
solution, right? So
Mhm.
it is wrong
Mhm.
to expect
Mhm.
them to give us the exact solution what they need. You need to
Mhm.
talk to them,
Mhm.
okay? When you talk to them, and that's when you realize, oh, this is what, is the
Mhm.
thing that needs to happen, okay?
Okay.
So what is requirement? Okay, and this is the textbook definition. Textbook, the IIBA, okay, and IIBA is PMBOK, we call it, not PMBOK, sorry, PMBOK is for project management, BABOK, okay, Business Analyst Book of
Ba-
Knowledge, okay. What it says,
Babuk.
BABOK, yeah, uh, Business Analyst Book of Knowledge, okay.
Okay.
So what it says is that a requirement is a condition or capability, okay, is a condition
Mhm.
or capability needed by a stakeholder to solve a problem or achieve an objective, okay. you so so it is a
Re-
capability that is required by the software, or a capability that is to be developed, okay, or condition that needs to
Mhm.
be met. So there is a condition is broken, they are not able to do it, and it should work, okay, you're supposed to work on it, right? Or the feature that you develop,
Mhm.
a condition or capability that must be
Mhm.
met or processed by the system, right? So see, when you
Mhm.
say needed by a stakeholder, is because stakeholder wants to do something, some particular thing. The existing system is not allowing it to do it, so they expect a new condition or system to be implemented, right?
Mhm.
And a
Mhm.
documented so requirement. Okay, so this is of course about a condition and capability, but it needs to be documented, okay. So documentation is also important from IBS perspective, okay. So it is
Mhm.
about the condition or the capability that needs to be added to the system, so that the person stakeholder is able to do the prescribed job, okay, and they need to have a documentation along with it, okay. So at a high level, okay,
So the
at a,
last,
yeah,
can you go for
yeah,
last point? Okay, okay. The document represented for condition or capability in one
right,
or two. Okay.
yeah. So you're documenting it also at the end of the day,
Mm. Okay.
okay. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
at a high level, we have three types of requirement. Okay, business requirement,
Mm-hmm.
user requirements, and system requirement. Business requirement, as name suggests, is from business perspective. What business need? Okay, and then you come down to user requirement. Okay, so user requirement is from the user perspective, people who are going to use it. Business is the company or organization, right? Then we're talking about the user, what user needs, right? And then at next level, you talk about the system requirement, or the features that needs to be built by the technical team, okay. So see, we are going uh, down, okay. So business requirement is a high level, that we need to have a system, we need to have a soft. Now for example, these days, right, every company is talking about a system that will help them to make um, sitting arrangements better, in COVID terms, right? Like, how do they manage their sitting arrangement, okay. So everybody wants to sit. So as a business requirement, you will say that we need to develop, or we need to have a capability to manage sitting arrangement of our employees. One line, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then user requirements would mean that users should be able to key in the dates they are coming to office. Okay, then which team they are in. I'm just giving some random example, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
the one line requirement, business requirement, will get around into user requirement. So user will say that, okay, user should enter the name, sorry, of course name would be their employee ID, the date on which they are traveling to office, the team that they belong to, so that they will be able to club them together, okay, and date, team, and possibly that much. Based on that, it should generate a seat number, okay, eighth floor, B wing, 56 seat number, right? So this is about user requirement. User requirement is about assigning a seat number to each individual. Okay. Now, what would mean for system requirement? System requirement is from system. So I need to develop a cloud-based Java application. Okay, this UI will have these things. There should be authentication, right? You enter your employee ID and so authenticate with your domain and like So you're getting down to system level. So this is what the requirements are all about, and the six things that we discussed, right? Six problems. Take one problem
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, and take any one, and let's try to stretch it to these topics as well. Try to create. So the statement that you will see will be a problem. Okay, you need to convert that into a use business requirement, right? Solution, one line solution. Then then the create user requirement and system requirement. As we go along, we'll discuss more.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Can you hear me? Hello.
No, your voice is off.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
now it's okay.
Okay, okay. So yes, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think it's reconnecting.
Oh, I can
Yeah.
hear you. Okay, okay. Okay. So business requirement, as I said, is from the business perspective that they need a particular software, they need a particular capability, right? User requirement would mean what input they need to give and what output they need to get it from the system. They don't care what which software you use, which language you use, how you implement. Okay, this is the input and this is the output. System requirement is all about which features. Okay, there will be a form. You need to have a submit button. The form should accept you know this. When you click on submit, it should go and validate, then it should perform this, then it should calculate this, right? That's what they are really interested in. Okay, so in a way, if you see your higher level statements, okay, which is business requirement, is a higher level. It talks about goals and objectives. Okay, that is broken down to the needs of the stakeholder. Now sometimes, okay, so see, it's not like it is not like, see, in a way, when you say business requirement is high level, you're coming down to system level, right? It is still a different type of requirements. Okay, these are not same requirement where you have you are exploring or you are adding more content to it. No, they are different types of requirement. The basically, yes, your system requirement will have more details than business requirement. At the same time, system requirements is separate, right? Nirav, you there? Can you hear me? Continue. So yeah, I was talking about these three types of requirements. So what I was saying is that of course business requirement is the highest level, okay, and slowly we are coming down to the system requirement. So business requirement is all about goals and objectives. It's a higher level. User requirement is about the requirements of the stakeholder. It's little more detailed. Okay, and system requirement is even more detailed. The one line will probably get converted into 50 pages of document. But you have to remember that these are not same. Okay, it's not that we are expanding same thing. It's not like business requirement is executive summary and user requirements are a little more detailed. These are all different kinds of requirement. Okay, you cannot compare business requirement with system requirement because they talk about entirely different thing. Okay, so yes, as you go down, system requirements is much more detailed, but it's not detailed in terms of the language. Okay, it is detailed in terms of the development. Okay, business requirement will only talk about business. System user requirement will talk only about the user capabilities, and system requirement will only talk about the software features. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, so not proper. earphone, I think the one. Pull it little up. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, and IIBA talks about 6 types of requirements. Okay. At high level, these are 3 types of requirement. But the system level or business requirements or user requirement can be further classified. Okay. So business requirement is as it is. System requirement is as it is. In IIBA, the the system requirements gets converted into functional requirements, and fourth one you see is called quality of service requirement. Okay, or also called as non-functional, functional and non-functional. Then you have assumptions and constraints and implementation requirements. Okay, so business requirement is from the business perspective that we discussed. User is from user perspective. Okay, the system requirements gets converted into these 4 types. Okay, the functional requirements talks about the functionalities, the capabilities, the features. What we call as features are basically the functional requirement. Non-functional requirement talks about quality. Okay, quality could be that when you search for a patient record, the search should not take more than 30 seconds. Okay, so time is a see is the functionality working fine or not? You click on patient search, and after 30 seconds or after, let's say, 1 minute, it gives you the result is correct. So the functional requirement, you will say passed, but nobody will wait for a minute or 2 minutes to get the data from the database, right? So that becomes non-functional requirement or quality of service. It could be about time, it could be about the UI, right? It's not with the functionalities is fine, but the UI is not good, or maybe the system is crashing again and again, right? It's not able to handle more than say 1,000 users, things like that. Is all about the quality, right? And these are called as non-functional requirements. Okay, then you have assumption and constraints. So for making any system or any software, we do have to make some assumptions. Okay, so assumptions could be like that the user should be logged in, for example. Okay, the features are available only to the user. So if you do not have a password, you cannot log in, which is fine, right? Okay, so you can't, there's no option to create new user, right? New registration. See, if you are doing B2C Amazon kind of application, yes, anybody can register. But if you talk about your company application, not everybody can register, right? So you need to have your username password to connect to any of your office system, right? So that's an assumption. Assumption is that to access a particular system, you need to have username password. You need to be registered user. So that's an assumption. Okay, any constraint would mean what you cannot achieve. Okay, so if you are creating some kind of document, okay, and what they might do is admin might give a constraint that not more than 8 pages you can print at a time. Okay, for whatever reason they might put some constraint, so that's a constraint that you have. Okay, max. So assumption constraints are to be documented as well, and user should know that these are the assumptions and these are the constraints that happen. And the last one, which generally we don't encourage our customers to give us, is called implementation requirement. Okay, the implementation, should we use Oracle or SQL Server, or should we use PHP or something else, Django, right? All these options are supposed to be decision taken by the project team, not by the customer. Okay, but in some rare cases, customer might say that we have a team of Oracle database administrators. We don't have any SQLs or this administrators, so please give us develop it on Oracle itself so that we are able to manage it, right? So in some rare, okay, so ideally speaking, business analysts should not talk about technology. Okay, the problems should be presented to the project manager. Project manager along with the architect is supposed to decide the technology. Okay, BA and customer should not talk about technology. Okay, because they are the right people, and based on their experience they will choose a particular way of implementation or pattern technology. But in some rare cases, okay, you can accept customer demand as well. Okay,
Mm.
so these are the 6 types of requirements, and we will talk more about it. Okay, so what is the requirement again? So what we have seen is textbook definition, but what is the requirement practically? The requirements are the answers to the question like what will this project change that is required in order to deliver the objectives. Objective, okay, is to be able to manage the seating arrangement of people coming to office. Now, to able to manage the seating arrangements for people coming to office, what is that is going to change in the project? Okay, it could be entirely new thing. Like COVID seating arrangement is entirely new project. Okay, but
Mm.
bulk of the project would be, as we discussed, improvement. Okay, re-engineering we call it, right? Business process re-engineering or re-engineering, where it could be a manual process. Okay, it could be just a manual process which you want to automate it. And change can be what is called crude: create, update, delete something. Okay, so create,
Mm.
of course you are creating a new feature or creating a new product, a new system altogether, or you
Mm.
want to update existing thing. There's already existing thing, but probably for some reason it's not working correctly. Okay, like for orders for Pizza Hut, right? We discussed about the first problem. It was
Mm.
process is correct, but it is not able to handle large order, right? So there you will need to make some update, right? Or it could be about deleting something totally which is not required at all. See, when you add something, you'll probably have to delete something else, right? So your process could be about adding, removing, or updating, right? So focus is on what will change, not how will it change. So remember, as a BA, it is all about what. We don't want to talk about how. We don't want to talk about technology. We don't want to how it will be implemented. These things, as much as possible, you are not supposed to talk. One, okay, you are not the right person to talk about. Second, I mean, when you say you, it is BA. BA is not the right person to talk about. One. Second, let the project team decide what is good, okay, what is the best way to implement at the time of implementation, right? Yes, later when we'll see that when you find the requirements, you have to make sure that it should be implementable. Okay, you can't promise something which cannot be implemented. Okay, technology should exist to implement it, but at the same time, okay, customers should not dictate about the process how or the technology. Okay, so what is there a difference between business and functional requirement? Yes. Okay, there is a material difference. Okay, because they talk
Yes.
about two different languages. Okay, so do we have some time?
So can you
Yeah.
yeah so the business and functional require business between business, yeah, so business like what is the business requirements, right? What and what is the functional
Functional is the capabilities, the features. Okay,
features? Okay.
when you click on search, it
Which
should give you the
functionality, what
results.
like which
Yeah,
yeah.
what we see actually, what we see in this. Okay, non-function. Okay, so whether it's functional or non-functional, it is what you implement. Okay, what you develop.